Today, I'm gonna give you a real estate market update, and you're gonna walk away with some tangible information that you can take with you to strategize around your purchase or your sale. I'm gonna talk about timing and pricing, which are all key elements if you're looking to buy or sell. I'm gonna talk about the stats, and at the end, I'm going to give you some advice for buyers, sellers, and investors. Now, if you're new to our channel, my name is Felix Chan, Realtor and mortgage broker with the LiveInnerCity real estate team. And as a realtor and mortgage broker for the last 10 years, I've seen a lot of ups and downs in the market. And today I want to share with you some of my insights and what I'm seeing out on the market. So let's go. I want to start off with the sales picture. Now, I'm gonna take us back all the way to April so you can kind of see the trends. In April, we had the dead halt because of COVID. In May, we started off pretty slow, but we ended up picking up on the back half of May, and we were about 40% behind 2019's numbers. Now in June, we ended up catching up and we ended up matching last year's numbers. And in July, we ended up having 12% more in sales of last year. And we've really picked up speed because I think people were pressured with kids going back to school. Maybe perhaps people were scared of a second wave coming. But typically in this month, we usually start seeing sales decline. These numbers indicate a few things. Number one, the spring market came late. Instead of April, it came later in June and July. And two, people still need homes. They need to buy homes, they want to buy homes, and they're capable of buying homes. Plus, mortgage rates right now are at record lows, so that's definitely helped fueling the desire to buy, all of which is really good news. Now, I'm gonna pull up a graph here, and this is the weekly sales comparing July of this year to July of 2019. Now, it was a bit of a roller coaster, as you can see, and we had a really good last half of June. July was up and down, but the last part of July, the market was on a tear. I want to show you guys the showing activity in Alberta. Now, this graph right now, number of showings comparing 2019 to 2020. Now, the blue line is from 2019 and the orange line is this year. As you can see, there's a huge gap between the 2 years. We are about 119% more showings this year than the same time last year. There's definitely a growth in showing activity, and this is an indication of what we can expect to see in August, which will likely turn into another month of strong sales. Next is the inventory story. Now, I'm gonna pull up this graph. It's the weekly new listings graph. Now, as you can see, in the back part of June, we started to see a large increase in inventory across all property types, mostly from those who were really holding off because of the uncertainty of the virus. Now, that trend carried into the beginning of July, but really slowed down dramatically in the last 2 weeks. This second graph is the weekly active listings, meaning properties that are staying on the market. Now, compared to 2019, we're sitting at about 11% fewer total properties on the market, which is about 750 homes, than the same time last year. Now, my feeling is all the buyers who have been waiting on the fence to buy are now seeing it as a good opportunity. So it's not just pent-up demand, but it's also buyers kind of coming onto the market. This is all good news. And in order to maintain pricing, inventory levels must stay at the same levels. Pricing. Now, Calgary as a whole, year over year, we've adjusted down by about 1.2%. And this is for all of Calgary. Now, month over month, there is a slight growth of 0.6%. Now, every market segment is slightly different. So for example, single family homes are holding their price better than condos. Looking back at the sales numbers, if our sales stays the same and our inventory continues to stay low, we could stay flat for pricing for the month of August. All right, so here is my advice for buyers. I'm gonna pull up this graph, and this graph is a sales to new listings ratio. And what it does, it really shows the real-time pace of the market. Now, it does factor in the number of sales that have occurred relative to the number of new listings coming to the market. So in a healthy and strong market, we're gonna see this ratio a little bit higher. And we had an uptick in May when Premier Kenney announced the reopening of the economy. We saw another peak from the pent-up demand. And then for the last few weeks of July, we saw some pretty consistent growth. Now the market is moving a bit faster than you would probably expect. And being in real estate for a number of years, one of the principles of real estate I've come up with is that a home that shows good value, meaning it shows well, it has a good price, will always sell no matter what the market you're in. If it's a seller's, balanced, or buyer's market. And this is no exception. Sellers are pricing their home properly. So if you see something that you like and it hits off most of the check boxes on your list, don't take your time to write an offer. Take a reasonable amount of time, but don't expect that it's gonna be around forever. You have to move on it. Here is my advice for sellers, and I'm gonna pull up this graph, which is the sold price to list price ratio. Now, all the sales that have happened in the last 30 days are in this graph. This really shows you the percentage of your list price that you can expect to sell your home as time moves on. Now, it's important to note that the higher pricing is achieved in the first 30 days. And if you take a look at the graph from day 0 to 10 days on the market, you're gonna achieve about 98.5% of your list price, assuming you are priced at market expectations. As we move in 10-day increments, the pricing adjusts about 1%. Now, 1% based on our average sale price here in Calgary is about $4,500. So every 10 days, it drops about $4,500. It does flatten out at around 96% of the asking price about 40 days after going to market. So my advice to you is price your property well. As a seller, there's really two types out there. You're either going to set the market or you're going to chase the market. And in an environment like this, you always want to be the one who sets precedents. Investors. Okay, so half of our market sales have actually been happening under 30 days on market, because average days on market right now is about 50. This means that there's not a lot of opportunity to find those great deals. And you're gonna be competing for properties that show well and are priced right. We may start seeing a fundamental shift in the types of homes that make good investments as remote working becomes the norm. So shifting from dirt, not condos, from inner city to the suburbs, so people can have an attached garage, a bigger yard, and more space for a lower cost. So that wraps up our Calgary real estate market for the month of July. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what August has, just because of the lower inventory, the lower new listings, increased in sales, and the large amount of showings that we're receiving. Not only that, but the low interest rates is definitely fueling some of this demand, and it's gonna be interesting to see how long this will last for. If you guys wanna keep a pulse on the Calgary real estate market or want some more real estate and mortgage tips, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we have videos coming out. My name is Felix Chan with the LiveInnerCity real estate team, helping you keep real estate simple, and we'll see you next time.